morning to you, members of the press. We'll be back here in the Charles William Conference Hall to, through you, as usual, speak to our country, to our people. In our midst today, we have the immigration authorities are here, and our friend from the National Disaster Relief Agency is also here. They will make the appropriate introductions at the right time, and they will announce members of the respective delegations, but I'd like to welcome them to our regular press briefing. And before we give them the platform to speak to you on the issues they are here for, we just wanted to make a few comments. There's no secret, as you all know, that we inherited a ministry that's in a very bad shape. But it will interest you to know that the assets we have to take care of as a ministry are beyond this complex. So, for example, the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism runs the National Museum, which is on Broad Street. We also have authority over the Providence Island. There is the Tolkien Center for Historical Something in Rappersport. It's also managed by the ministry. A number of cultural villages, including the South Cultural Village. We have King Yahweh, our national cultural troop, as the official movement. The straw, secure land for the new one, 50 acres. As we speak, we have just 10 acres left. 40 acres of that land has been encroached upon, and people have built very exotic properties on the land. Yesterday, a group of Liberians developed something they call the compendium of the presidencies of Liberia. What the compendium does is to tell the story of each person who had the opportunity to lead our country. What were they doing before they became president? What were the major achievements during their presidency? What was the situation of the world at the time they were president? What legacy did they leave behind? Very informative piece of history that be helpful to you, journalists, to our students, and to every actor in society. So yesterday we were at the museum to do so. But like all of the other properties that we manage as MICAT, the museum is a place that is haunted. The state of that place is dilapidated. We are having different conversations to see how we can transform that. One of the things we had to do immediately, because of the kind of guests who were expected to be there, former President Sebi was there, former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor was there, President Waka was expected to be there, the Chief Justice was there, and we have profile officials were there, so we thought we'd be able to do a quick intervention. As usual, the ministry does not have the support to do some of the things they have to do, so as the minister, I had to take action to procure 2 standing units, and the 2 senior ones you see right in this conference, or to be deployed there. And you will imagine how happy the folks who are managing that place were. The last time I went there was during the dry season, and so the place was excessively hot. The rainy season on, it's quite more cooler, even in the absence of air conditioning, but because of the number of persons who were expected there, even the 2 air conditioners that we took there were not sufficient. The process of changing that plane has begun. The deployment of the two standing units, and we've made a case for government to listen, for all actors to listen. And like I said, and I want to repeat, everything that is humanly possible will be done by this administration, headed by me, to transform all of the assets we have as a ministry. I'm sure as you were coming in, you realize that due to our commitment, we've since started the roofing of our ministry. I'm told by administration that our work has gone 80%. So shortly, you'll see the ministry with a brand new roof. And not long after that, we'll start the refurbishing of the entire building itself. We want to remain true to our commitment that probably towards the end of the year, you will see a brand new Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. The government's fight for accountability is on. No matter what kind of interpretation it is given by people in different places, it's a process that we are committed to as a government, led by the head of the government, the president himself, His Excellency President Buhari. Yesterday, to strengthen what we do in that regard, the Office of Ombudsman, 3 persons were appointed there, Councillor Philip Kanga, Lamin Kaboy, and Edmundio Martin. All were confirmed by the Liberian Senate, and yesterday they were commissioned by the President. As a matter of fact, the President saw that occasion as being very important, given the role of the office, and so he mandated that it was compulsory for all officials of government to be in attendance. The President made a very critical point. He described that Office of Ombudsman as an essential institution dedicated to ensuring transparency, justice, and accountability within our governance structure. Of course, he described the office, or the establishment of the office, and the commissioner of the officials as a significant step in our commitment to the reform agenda that is strengthening our democracy. And if you were there or follow, you will realize that the President then publicly signed the Code of Conduct for Public Officials and urged all officials of government to uphold and sign the code. Some of us have been in full compliance with these efforts to ensure accountability. I know that most of, if not all of the officials who are here at MICAT have declared their assets. We want to encourage the rest of our colleagues who have not done so to do so, because if you don't do so, it appears then that you are standing in the way of our resolve to be accountable. Cannot be a part of a process and intent to hold people accountable, but will fall short of the little steps you should take yourself to elevate the commitment to the process. In the last cabinet meeting, the President was clear that these are not things he expects his officials to take for granted, and that they were all instructed, if not mandated. If any one of us did not comply as of the time of the LACC's preliminary report, they were instructed to act. Because the truth of the matter is, punitive action will await those who fail to comply. The country has a new U.S. ambassador. He has formally presented his letters of credence to the President, which means that the United States of America's presence in our capital is now at the ambassadorial level. That is significant in the opinion of the government. And of course, during that ceremony, the President praised the United States for their continuous interest and commitment to Liberia. And he thanked the new ambassador, who is Ambassador Tuna, for coming to Liberia. He noted that Liberia will always cherish its relations with the U.S. and that his administration looks forward to an even more positive engagement with the ambassador's tour of duty here. At the last cabinet meeting, the President made a very strong point about what kind of relationship he expects amongst officials who are running different ministries and entities. The President was clear that we have no time for infighting. But he was even clearer and stronger that it was important for the teams and the different ministries and agencies to realize that those entities do have heads. And in his opinion, the head is in charge of the entity. And so he encouraged all of the people who be working along with the different heads to do nothing but to cooperate. Because it does not help the government when in the workplace who are fighting among themselves. It was clear that even ministers themselves who don't do the right thing will be dismayed. And it wouldn't matter who comes to talk to him, who will listen. And the President can say that to his ministers, who else he can say it. And I think true to that word, saw the President acted decisively at the Ministry of Education, and he announced the dismissal of the Deputy Minister for Administration. Of course, the management's action was described for administrative reasons. And I think at the level of MICAT, we want to keep it like that. We'll have some deep conversations about the conduct of certain actors in our society. That will be my last point. Some of these actors were in opposition for years. And then there were times they had a chance to govern. When the UP was in power, 12 years before the last 6 years, some of these actors at the institutional level, in 12 years, had more than 300 protest actions. They were more interested in their quest for political power than the progress of our country. But during that time, the UP administration, headed by President Selim and assisted by the current president, President Ouattara, started the process of rebuilding Liberia. Don't forget that when President Selim came to power, nothing existed yet. We just ended the war. In between time, Mr. Taylor was president. We went basically back to war. We negotiated at the end of the war. An interim arrangement stepped in, headed by Chairman Bryant. And so when the president took over at that time, it was a new country that was wanted, more fronts. So the UP administration at the time came stepping in, ready to work. Started to build new roads, build public offices, schools, hospitals, restoring basic social services such as water and electricity. The Salif Waka administration rescued the country's international image. We're in deep trouble. Passports not respected anywhere. We're in the hands of criminals and gangs purporting to be Liberians. our government worked so hard to rescue our international image, and we were once more globally respected. If you remember, President Selig, leader for a very long time, addressed the Young Congress of the legislature in the United States of America. She also had the time to have one-on-one meeting for U.S. President Obama in the Oval Office in the White House. She ensured that the president before Obama, Bush, flew from America in Kenya. Think about those. Small country like ours was being embraced as great leaders of the world. Let me not forget to add, the president of China was here. Prime Minister of Canada was here. German Chancellor was here. All of the great leaders in the world came to this little country. Because we're really making ourselves as a government, as a country. We're interested to know that some of the 300 protests I'm talking about were taking place during these times when huge progress have been made. Oh, maybe you forgot. The country had a debt obligation to the international system in the tone of $4 billion. You know what $1 billion is? Oh yes, but what we had as an obligation to the international system. And the way the process works, you can put it in your own life. If you owe me $1,000, you can't pay my money. But borrow additional money? Of course not. So with a $4 billion international obligation, we're not qualified for anything. No grant, no loan, nothing. The international system has developed this process that they call HIPAA. It depends on the government certain actions to take, including some intentionally targeted at ensuring that the country is transparent. The painstakingly went through those processes. And we had over $4 billion waived. That we didn't have to pay back. And then that qualified our country again to be able to borrow, to receive grants, and to do positive things. When we cross that level, we start to get international support. Our brand new road into the beginning of the United States, we built it. Our road from Monrovia all the way to Danda border crossing all the way to Guinea, the United States, we did that. We brought the African Development Bank and started building our road from the southeast, coming towards Monrovia. We're building community roads and making different kinds of intervention. Liberia was truly once again on the move. But the protest actions continued. Because it was not about the country. It was about their political question and political interest. But not this. Later on, they changed gear from an opposition movement to a ruling establishment. And I challenge anybody to show that in our 6 years, there was a single protest action organized by the Unity Party as a political institution. Don't tell me about who you saw from the UP joining the COP protest. That's COP. Don't tell me whether you saw some UP element behind the bring back our money. I bring back our money people. I mean institutionally, this party did nothing for the state that our friends. Again, the goalpost shifted. The Unity Party is back. It's less than 6 months. What are we seeing? Back to business as usual. These are not threats or protests. Threats or resistance. Everything that will undermine the peace and security of the country has reason, and they have re-emerged. This is unacceptable. Look at this scenario. People call themselves EPS officers. You know who EPS officers are? They are people who are responsible for the safety of the president, the first family, and designated VIPs. They should be beyond political affiliations. You can liken them to the U.S. Secret Service. It doesn't matter whether the man in the White House is a Republican or a Democrat. They have an obligation to protect. We sought to transform our EPS that have done well in the past into a political movement over the last 6 years. You were here. You saw political rallies with EPS officers wearing party paraphernalia. Unacceptable. Does not happen anywhere. But it happened here. The EPS provided updates about how some people left the EPS before they came to power. There were people investigating for criminal activities that led to their disrobing from the EPS. They were brought back. People who committed various offenses and were kicked out of the EPS were brought back. The new leadership decided that the EPS will be sanitized. The right people will be in. Some of the people who became victims of that process said they were unlawfully dismissed. Maybe true. Where do you seek redress if you believe you were unlawfully dismissed? They did nothing to seek redress within the confines of the law. The first action they showed us was when the former president was arriving in the country last time at the airport. 75 of them checked out a box wearing those blue jackets that the EPS is affiliated with. They said, we came to welcome our leader. The next thing we saw in Monrovia is there were protests. They were calling on you to remain home, don't come in the street. Where was the protest starting from? Law in Monrovia. Where did they assemble for the protest? At the party headquarters. Is that not a justification that these were people who did not belong in the EPS in the first place? If you were genuinely EPS officers, with a genuine case about being illegally removed from the force, and you want to gather to express your concern about that, you do so at a party headquarters? What is the message? So you see, for 12 years, over 300 protests. Then they came to power, the UP had no protests. The UP government is back less than 6 months. They are back at protests and believe they can threaten every other person here. Friends, take a break. This country is nobody's inheritance. You had the opportunity to serve because the Liberian people trust you. You did not meet their expectations. They put you out. They brought a new government. If this government does not meet their expectation, they also put them out. The way to resolve the leadership conflict or issue in this country is through the democratic process. All these actions outside the democratic process meant to create insecurity, to scare investors away, and to make our country to look like a nation that is not governable, will not be tolerated. And if they are also meant to sway our attention away from our resolve to hold people accountable as a government, then you are mistaken. It will have zero impact on our quest to hold past leaders who breach the public trust accountable. Do you know how many persons serving government? Do you know how many persons gets elected? How many persons have been pursued? So it means that not everybody who works for government or who works in government is involved in some criminal acts. Does that mean that you who chose to do so should not be touched, because when you are touched, you shout witch hunt? Who did the investigations that are leading to these actions? Then look at the case that has to do with 2 others. That investigation was done by the LCC. Who are the commissioners? Who appointed them? President Waka? No. Central Bank report from the GSC. Who appointed the government? The governor there. Waka or President Wia. So these people are simply doing what they were appointed to do, irrespective of their linkages with people. And when they do their work, and prosecutors review their work and find evidence that can lead to charges being levied, no threat can stop the government from doing so. This is a conversation that the government is keen about, but I decided to talk about from the devil of my heart. This country is 107% year. Are we okay? What we see here about this country? I'm not sure. 300 protests because everything was bad. But in 12 years, not a single person was sanctioned by any country. In their 6 years, everything was good. The country was on its way to becoming heaven. Officials were being sanctioned left and right. The raindrop. Those who have ears, get a ear. Thank you.
That was the Minister of Information that Jeremy Matthew is speaking, making comments on behalf of the government of the Republic of Liberia. My name is Jasper Andrews here at the Ministry of Information.
So, folks, that was the voice of Minister Jeremy Matthew giving his introductory comments here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Next is the guest itself, the Disaster Management Agency will be our guest, followed by the Liberia Immigration Service Deputy Commissioner for National Assistance here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Let's now welcome you to the podium as the Executive Director of the National Disaster Management Agency.
As they relate to the MDNA. There in the gallery, you see the Director for Logistics, the Director for Race, the Director for Training, Communication. That suggests that we want to see what this is today.
I know.
Honorable Minister, all government agencies present, gentlemen and ladies, distinguished members of the press, thank you for gathering here today. We stand before you on a sober occasion, prepared to address severe flooding that has impacted several communities in Mosorado, Rambasa, and Maingidi County. As many of you are aware, weather patterns have become increasingly volatile due to climate change. Our recent prediction on June 28, 2024 warned of an imminent increase in flooding events. Today, we bear witness to the stark reality of those predictions, as heavy rainfall has led to unprecedented flooding levels, exceeding what we had previously expected. In the aftermath of the severe downpour, several communities have been affected, with homes and infrastructure submerged and many residents displaced. We deeply empathize with all those who have impacted during this difficult time. It is heartbreaking to see families grapple with immediate consequences of such intense rainfall, which has caused not only physical damage, but also emotional, psychological strain. Our commitment to supporting these individuals and families during this trying moment is more steadfast than ever. In response to this disaster, the National Disaster Management Agency, in collaboration with the Liberia National Red Cross and other partners, have promptly mobilized resources to initiate search and rescue operations. Our dedicated teams are on the ground working tirelessly to locate and assess those in distress, ensuring that no one is left behind. We are determined to provide immediate relief and support to those affected, assisting them in navigating through these devastating circumstances. To coordinate our response effectively, the NDMA has activated several clusters responsible for addressing perceived needs arising from this crisis. These clusters include communication and coordination, health and safety, search and rescue, shelter, water, sanitation, and hygiene, in other worldwide. Each cluster is composed of skills and professional volunteers who are working closely together to deliver essential services and aid to those who are most vulnerable. Our coordinated approach ensures that the needs of affected communities are addressed urgently and comprehensively. It is imperative to note that the NDMA over the time has made significant strides in reorganizing and coordinating the mechanism which brought together further outlines. Stakeholder engagement platform comprising heads of lines, ministries, and agencies with expectation that control mechanism will be managed properly, which resulted to the adaptations of the flood response plan. NDMA conducted a holistic data collection and assessment of vulnerable communities affected by the flood in an effort to respond to humanitarian needs. The NDMA and the One UN system to seek support for more than 48,000 flood victims across 3 countries. However, there are pending reports from other countries that are not reflected in the 48,000 victims already provided. As I speak now, the Department of Risks and Early Warning have reported more than 60,000 victims. The NDMA, in collaboration with the One UN, conducted a joint need assessment to flood-affected communities. The NDMA initiated the activations of 2 regional hubs in Bonn, Grand Bassel countries for the sole purpose of effective decentralization. The NDMA received 2-8 engagement with Zimeco, one of our private partners, obtaining some foods and non-food supplies for the victims. The NDMA recently launched the Early Warning for All initiative, controlling a roadmap for Liberia in disaster risk reduction strategy and early design to hazard-related activity, both natural cause and human-induced hazard. In response to the UN Resident Coordinator, Madam Christina N. Yumotoni, through my engagement with our One UN partners, the Joint UN Flood Response Working Group has been established, with the WFP and UNICEF closely collaborating with the NDMA and the UN partners to support flood-affected people in urgent need of assistance. The WFP will provide emergency food assistance through cash by mobile money to 5,200 households, constituting 26,000 individuals displaced by the flood in Mosorado, Margini, and Grand Bassel County, respectively. Through my outreach approach, the WFP has mobilized US $1.5 billion United States for this purpose. The WFP will leverage data collected by the NDMA on the affected household, along with physical verification exercise to validate the data and gather additional information needed to provide assistance. The WFP will engage 20 enumerators from the WFP and the NDMA to conduct the exercise, supervised by technical staff from both entities. All logistics and financial arrangements have been completed, and the exercise is to commence today, August 8th. The European Union has also committed $500,000 to the Liberia National Red Cross as cash assistance to flood victims. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Finance, Development Planning, have also approved the United States $500,000 to procure humanitarian items and pre-position items at various hubs across the country for quick response in the case of an emergency. In the effort to reduce flooding, the NDMA is working along with the Ministry of Public Works and the Environmental Protection Agency under the Urban Resilience Project to open new drainages and waterways in and around Monrovia. On behalf of His Excellency, the Honorable President of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Newman Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia, wholeheartedly extend his thanks and appreciation to the Executive Director of the NDMA, to the country reps of the UN, Honorable Christina N. Yumotoni, and the One UN family. In closing, I want to reiterate the importance of community resilience in the face of climate change and human-reduced disaster and hazard. This incident serves as a wake-up call for all of us to take action, whether through policy advocacy, community awareness, or individual preparedness. Together, we must strive to mitigate the impact of future disaster, foster resilience community, safeguard our shared environment. Thank you for your attention, and we will continue to keep you updated on our ongoing responses. May God bless you.
So that was the Director General of the Disaster Management Team there, talking in the update on
the National Disaster Management Agency.
For that presentation,
At the Ministry of Information,
we now stand on the existing protocol
presentation.
to invite to the podium
That next is
the Deputy Commissioner for Administration in the 301 of the Liberia Immigration Service, Honorable Elijah F. Rufus, will give his presentation. After his presentation, we'll entertain questions that will be directed at the three speakers here. Thank you.
so that is the Immigration Service program updates on several issues in the Liberia Immigration Service here in Liberia. So, okay, see.
Honorable Minister of Information, the Honorable Executive Director, our co-deputies, platform guests, members of the four estates. Okay. Present here, I Honorable A. Kundukai Daliba Anthony Allah, the Deputy Immigration Commissioner in charge of operations. Honorable Anthony Desin Arakamba, Deputy Immigration Commissioner in charge of naturalization, and Ernest Freeman, the Director for Naturalization. And speaking is Elijah F. Rufus, Deputy Immigration Commissioner in charge of administration. It is our pleasing duty to be here this afternoon to talk to the press as we reach out to the Liberian people on upholding development at the Liberian Immigration Service since we took over as commissioner. The Liberian Immigration Service is the agency of government responsible to execute the Alien and Nationality Law of Liberia, to man the territorial confines of Liberia, which include land, air, and sea. In addition to that, we also raise revenue for government. That is a key core function for the Liberian Immigration Service. Most recent, the institution has embarked on a rigorous process that is to recruit additional men to man our territorial conference. But before I go further, some of you may be thinking, where is the Commissioner General of the Immigration Service? Our boss had just returned this morning from the Ivory Coast, where he was invited by his colleague to celebrate the Independence Day in Côte d'Ivoire. Our colleagues are our eastern frontier. He just returned this morning. We are standing here in this capacity and the Liberia Immigration Service. To move further, we have embarked on a recruitment process. This process came about as a result of the current retirement that is ongoing. We were informed by the CSA that about 318 of our personnel have reached the retirement age. Based upon that, and realizing that our borders are porous, we have already been appealing for additional manpower to be trained to fill those gaps, those border posts that are not met. Then we have come to the point of retiring about 318 of our personnel. We had a conversation with the civil service agents that this will create a serious problem on the immigration service as well as the Liberia Immigration Service and the Republic of Liberia. Should these people retire, the void is created and we don't have the needed men to fill the gap. Based on our conversation, we reached a decision that we could train additional men or we train some personnel so that as these people are leaving the service, we'll be able to replace them. We have embarked on this process. We have communicated this with the Honorable Minister of Justice, the Minister of Finance, and all of the conversations are very good. Going forward, we decided to advertise to receive applications throughout the Republic of Liberia. And we did this in all of the 15 counties. All of our county headquarters were designated for people in the respective counties to submit applications. We have received all of the reports from the 15 counties. I'm pleased to note while the Immigration Service is undertaking the training of 500 personnel, we received about 9,743 applications. We do not want to do it as a Monrovia-based recruitment, so we decided to do it all over. The applications have been submitted, they have been sorted out in the various areas. For the preliminary testing, we have identified our regional headquarters where applicants will go to do the first vetting. And when that is done, the report from there will now be taken to Monrovia, where we will do the final vetting. We want to make this process very transparent. And because of this, we have engaged the Liberia National Bar Association, the Women NGO Secretariat, the Federation of Liberian Youth. We want them to have a representation during this exercise so that the process will be very transparent. Application will be sorted out, shortlisted, and those who will go through with the first shortlisting. We have also agreed that given the situation of drugs in our country, before anybody is accepted to be enlisted into the Liberia Immigration Service at this time, we have to do drug tests before you can be sent for training. We are in discussion with the Ministry of National Defense to help us use the facility of the number 14 Military Hospital, where the tests will be done, or will bring a medical mobile team do the drug test for us. In addition, we have also communicated with the West African Examination Council, because what we realized is that in situations like this, a lot of people will bring fictitious application or document or credentials. So WIRE Liberia will also assist us to verify all high school credentials submitted to us to consideration, as well as the National Identification Registry. They have agreed in principle that we will use their platform for those who have submitted citizens ID card. We use their platform to verify as to whether you got it from the National Identification Registry, so that you can go and bring us fake documents. We do not want these kind of people in our system anymore. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, Honorable Minister, we have elevated our discussion on this issue. On Tuesday, we met with the IT Minister of Finance to discuss our training budget. We made a submission previously, but we made a follow-up on Tuesday. The budget to train about 500 personnel is around $700,000 United States dollars. In this training, we want to conduct this training in 4 years. The Liberia Immigration Service has a huge facility in 4 years. It was built during the regime of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but it has never been utilized. This time around, we want to take our training to our facility. On behalf of the Liberia Immigration Service, these are some of the crucial issues unfolding that we want to share with the public. Any other issue, we stand ready to publish. Thank you.
That was the voice of the Immigration Service there by the General and so we'll also be following the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. My name is Jasper F. Andres. Before us is Daniel Osana.
We will now entertain questions from you, members of the mass media. And you listen to the two speakers. The Minister of Information was very detailed in his presentation. That was followed by Mr. Dolley from the National Disaster Management Agency. And you also listened to the update from the Liberia Immigration Service about the recruitment and the financial cost attached to it, and the number of persons that have applied. Even though the agency is still expecting recruiting 500 persons, they receive over 9,000 applicants. That tells you that Liberians are out there and wanting to work. They don't want the opportunity. That's why we have to keep the country peaceful, so that the government can be able to attract the investors to come to the country, create the conducive environment for jobs to be created for our people. So we'll take 4 questions at a time. You please call your name, the agency you come from, and direct your questions to either of the speakers. Thank you. Proceed.
Please introduce yourself and the institution you report from.
Thank you, County. My name is Anthony Gray, and I report for the regional broadcast of ECOWAS Radio.
Give you this.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, my name is Anthony Gray, and I report for ECOWAS Radio. My question is directed to the Honorable Managing Director of the NDMA. You spoke of the process of, providing support, financial support, and that of material support to flood patents and other patents as well across the country. Most times when these processes come up, people that are directly affected, are in some ways not receiving the direct support. So I want to know what mechanisms that have been put in place that those that are really affected and most vulnerable receive these assistance that have been run up by international partners and even the government of Liberia.
My name is Joseph Ekula, my report for the post which we were online TDN website. My question goes to Mr. Pia. Following the stand-up between officers of the Liberia National Police and some supporters of the Common Coalition for Democratic Change (CDC), we spoke with the CDC chairman, Janda Cole, and he said the government of Liberia has crossed what he described as the danger red line. So I want to know, judging from the past, what does that mean to you as official spokesperson of this government?
My name is Renzi ST and I write for the Liberia News Agency. My first question goes to Mr. Pia. Mr. Pia, as President Waka is fighting to encourage the best of the country like Liberia, and every time people protesting, saying sarcastic things, is there any ways that the government are putting to be able to maybe dialogue or to solve some of the issues? And to the disaster management agency, every night the people are calling on the post street, the experience, according to their talk to them the last time, say every night their homes are working. We can remember the post street beyond our referral hospital JFK. Is there anything, according to them, they've been engaging the agency, is there anything you do to be able to solve the issue there?
Thank you. My name is Samson and I report for DTV Online. So my question goes to the commissioner. You did mention about saying we don't want any information in the institution again. Since you got there, was there any information rather about all of the officers? I think you can verify, please.
Thank you. My name is Desmond Williams, and I report for Madonna TV. Basically, my concern goes to the information minister. Madonna TV.
I agree, better representing all you want to do.
I represent the institution. My question number one goes to the information minister on here. In keeping with good governance and with the code of conduct as the president is enforcing. You spoke about the recent action taken by the president of this minister, of the deputy minister there, and Minister of Education. We want to know, as members of the press, in general, the Liberian people, the status of the LDA. Ever since we were told that the LDA, the officials then were suspended, and therefore, resulting to the acting supervision of Mr. Peters. Can you tell us how far of these investigations and what are some of those facts coming around these investigations? Has there been any investigations so far? And who are those? If they are guilty, what are the actions of this government? Because it is going to a month plus of that investigation. And to the director of the National Disaster Management Agency, you disclosed a total of 1.5 million coming from your doing partners, and also talk about 500,000, I think times 2 from the government angle and other international partners, resulting to 1 million as well plus the initial 1.5, that's 2.5 million. And you said it's going to target about 27 victims of fraud. And you mentioned in your report that from the preliminary data that has been collected, speak to about 60,000 victims of fraud. How are you going to reconcile the figure of those who are victimized from the fraud in keeping with what you have raised that is only budgeted to target to the 7,000, leaving the rest people being targeted? And lastly, to the IRS, the issue about, the recruitment. Many people have this belief that your system has already been built, that indeed there are people who are already in the system, and therefore you just have to do this in keeping with law, that there must be your general recruitment, what people have to apply. Considering the fact that you need 500 men, and now there are
9,000 applicants. Are you also in any way thinking about further addition considering the rapid number of applicants? Thank you so much.
So we'll take all the questions.
So my name is James Mara, and I report for Liberia in MICAT. And my question goes to firstly in business disasters and personnel. My chief, almost at a total of 2.5 billion. That money is not an easy money to develop a community. Do the EPA, your institution, the public work, and the government period, what mechanism are you putting into place in order to develop these swamplands into a full-based community structure to avoid spending money on people who are over the displaced, and so that you will have to avoid people going to receive and remaining in the same community, and so that the next release again you spend similar money. What mechanism are you putting into place to develop these communities who are swamplands into the full-based structure of the community? The next one has to do with the LRS boards. Chief, like the commonly asked the question, let me just phrase this way. You saw the youth of young Liberians who have desires of coming into the area. The other time, the mentions about 173 boards. In your own declarations here, if not you or your boss, like indeed, the boards are vulnerable. Would you mind, like, when they put it, working with international partners and the government of Liberia to be able to recruit more members of the young Liberians who have desires of joining the LRS? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Mopolu and I work for Sky FM. My question goes to the LIS. You were definite about how many men you want to train and how much is attached to this training process. But I didn't hear you mention the time process or the time range attached to this. Would you mind making it explicit? Thank you.
My name is Francis K. Cook. I report for the Liberian TV network. My question goes to the disaster management team. You provided a session in relation to environmental issues and so on. Okay, looking at Liberia for over the past years and up to date, there have been numerous of contributions coming from international partners. And most of these contributions were in quick impact projects are implemented. What level of strategy differently are you looking for in order to ensure that yes, indeed, Liberia is moving on a different path when it comes to environmental issues? Also, this year, Liberia will be going for COP29 at the International Conference of Parties at Baku. And you, from that angle, what level of recommendations are you actually putting forward to the EPA in the nationally determined contribution to be presented to the Liberian government for COP29? And my question also goes to the airlines. You spoke of, drug tests will be provided or be given to recruiters, aid in EB. Don't you mind telling the public, as since the inception into said position, have any of the officers done drug tests? And if so, what is the outcome of said result? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is George Mumu. My question goes to the Disaster Management Agency. Following your appearance on state radio weeks ago, you talked about the clearing of waterways and wetlands, clearing of structures. And so we went to some of the communities affected. So the concerns of those who have admitted that they are in waterways is that clearing the waterways is okay, or what becomes of them in terms of removing them from where they are currently. So to the Minister of Information, retrieving government asset is key. Where are we relative to retrieving the Liberia News Agency social media page, especially when currently we've seen another page being opened? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Thompson, and I report for the Independent Venezuela. I have two questions. One goes to Mr. Pierre.
and the next to the national disaster management. The first one says, there are conversations in the local communities across Liberia concerning the direction the government is taking in regards to holding accountable officials of government. Some fear that this might create a political instability for the country, and they want to know how prepared is the government to uphold peace and stability of our country, looking at current incident of protest and the threats coming from past officials. Then next to the national disaster management, what have been the main challenge for managing the disaster of our country? We've listened to several conversations from past leaders, especially you asking the government for funds, and then looking at the increase in disaster across the country. How prepared are you collecting such huge donation from our international partners? How prepared are you to go about tackling some of the disasters we have in our country? Thank you.
Good afternoon. We want to say thanks to the ministry, as has been said by our Executive Administration Honorable Rufus, and to all of the guests here, as well as members of the Top Estate, my own colleagues. Well, we got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions basically. The first one from Mr. Sampson from the DTV, who says that there is a perception already that those to be recruited and trained are already on hand, but this is just a showmanship. We want to assure you and the Liberian people, as well as the international community, that is far from truth. This process is open to all Liberians, regardless of any lineage. The first and foremost qualification is that you are a Liberian, and then you meet the rest of the other requirements or qualifications, among which are the age limit, 18 to 35. Also, we decided that we will take a minimum of high school graduate, and that is why the essence of requesting your WIRE result comes in. And having submitted, we have officially engaged with the WIRE. We wrote them, and they have agreed that we will utilize their platform to validate all of the submissions made, and also with the National Identification Registry. The National Identification Registry carries a lot of information. It speaks clearly, first, the citizenship, and then of the age. It will say, so for example, if somebody presented an ID card and say he or she was born 1980, clearly you are not within the required age range. And that's why it goes to the question of fake documents. Clearly, all of us know the situation with World Trade Center and other books around town, printing books where people manufacture universities and high schools in computers and come up with degrees and other credentials. But this process, we want to make it very, very clear that nobody has been selected and everyone has an equal and fair chance. In terms of whether we are contemplating on any addition, for us, if we had the opportunity, we even want to do 2,500. because to take you back a little, when Ombe was leaving, a national security transition plan was drawn, and the LIS was projected to have had 4,000 to 5,000 manpower. Today, we stand at 2,389 plus or minus. Of that number, more than 300 are about to be retired, which further deplete our number, and so we are getting small by the day instead of growing, while the immigration issues are growing in contemporary times. So that's it. As to the drug test, the essence of administering drug test is we don't want to have people recruited into the immigration service that are addicted to drugs. And so that is going to be the last of all of the screening processes. Asking whether we have conducted drug test of the current officers, the answer is no, we haven't done that. But that does not stop us to conduct drug tests for those that we intend to camp in. In the future, it's a policy by this government that all government workers must do drug tests, which has been led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Ambassador Joseph Biman Boakai, and all of us as government officials have to follow suit. That regime is in place, and we are waiting to conduct our drug test. And then I don't know what the time. The time frame is that the 19th of this month, training is to commence officially in FOIA. If that is to be affected by any means, then we'll also let the public know. But that is our time for now, and the training will run for 3 months, from the 19th up to September, October, November, and that's when the training will end. And I don't know whether somebody raised it. We were talking about gender, but across the country, we like to inform you that this process, women and men, it was not about men, it was not about women. All across the country, we have the stats here. If you permit us to read the entire stats across the country, men and women, so that the benefit, the public have the benefit of understanding clearly. But from the 15 counties, we had a total of 7,601 males and 2,142 females out of the number of 9,743. I hope we address all of the concerns, and if need be, we will take time to clarify. Thank you very much.
That was application speaking.
So he is the
Minister of Information here. So
a member of the Liberia Immigration
Service, Executive Director.
So
because we
question
won't
concern
have
that was
the
raised
lottery
by
of
some
time,
of our media colleagues here. So next is the Disaster Management Agency.
we will economize our statement
Ansu Dolley.
as relates to the answer, for which will be given to you. If you're not satisfied, if I'm walking down the hallway, you say answer no. And so for ECOWAS Radio, they were asking for the mechanism about the directly affected person benefiting from humanitarian supply. I just want to say something crystal clear. That we inherited a system at the NDMA, if I'm not saying was corrupt, but was close to disintegration. We inherited a side of the Saudi rice donation of 9,000 Saudi rice that was donated to the NDMA, 29,000 bags of rice that was donated to the NDMA. We did not see a record of 29,000 bags of rice. 5,000 of such rice was supposed to go to our hubs in Ghana. There was no record of the rice issue to Ghana. All of the records we see was toxic talking. And so the systems were toxic. And so individuals in the system minds were already corrupted. And the arrest agenda call for transparency. And so we are cleaning up the system to transform and align and realign it with the arrest agenda. And so you'll be hearing a lot of news. You know, change is constant, but change is difficult to accept. So changes will take place forward. The reason why I'm saying that, there is a notion that every Liberian is corrupt. There is a notion that when the international community gave humanitarian supply to Liberians is mismanaged. And this is the reason why we are putting system in place. As I speak to you right now, our members of the MDMA and the WFB, they are on the field. We collect the data, the actual human being in the poor communities. That data is a raw data, is validated by the UNDP and the WFP. They go on the field, see the actual victim vis-a-vis with their eyes. And so that, because it's a cash transfer for a period of 3 to 4 months, so that it can uplift the victim's spirit into present day reality. So we're not going to be involved in the cash transfer. We have produced the data to the international partner. The data will be validated by them in Essentia. And so when they're certified, and they will send the money. So we have nothing to do with that. We are clear. What are we doing to mitigate hazard? What are you doing to mitigate hazard yourself? That is one thing. Somebody will deliberately bail into the mangrove swamp, knowing very well that when releases the account, they will be flooded. Do you expect government to spend money in relocating you? The way you came, you will go. The Minister of Public Works, the National Disaster Management Agency, will demolish houses. I don't really care the outcry. Because you know in the first place, it's not where you're supposed to be building your houses. I also say something here clear. The next rain that will pull, there will be catastrophic consequences as it relates to the Omega community. The Omega community, wealthy business people are beginning to build houses in the swamp. They are beginning to use drainages as separate things. And so the government will not hesitate to rescue the Liberian people from the hands of unscrupulous builders. And so I want to dissect the number. Different communities benefit from different response and different mitigation process. So the 500,000 the Red Cross is having, we have over 52 communities. The community, the 26 communities that the WFP is targeting, the Red Cross will be targeting that community. The one that the NTMA will be targeting, the 2 other entities will not be targeting that, so that everybody will benefit simultaneously, but at different ends. So that you know one person will not be benefiting twice. I don't think you have any question to ask me when I'm walking down the hall. We are not going to, somebody asked question whether we're going to reactivate, restructure the swamp dwellers community. We want to free the swamp. You know, the swamp is a reservoir of water that holds the rain when it comes. And so we will demolish it, nothing will be going there. And so that we will reduce the human-induced hazard created by swamp dwellers. What is